with us now for more, Johnnie Moore, a faith advisor to the Trump administration and member of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. Johnnie, good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Good to be back.
So you're very familiar with the National Prayer Breakfast. How is this year different from years past?
Well, I mean, this year's prayer breakfast happened within 12 hours of the acquittal of the president for an impeachment, and it was the elephant in the room, and it made its way through the events of the morning. But when it was all said and done, the prayer breakfast is what it's always been, a unique moment in Washington, D.C., where, like it or not, you are in the room with people that are different than you from all around the world, and we prayed together and we worshiped together, and it was a memorable morning for lots of reasons.
Johnnie, the breakfast is billed as nonpartisan. The headlines, though, are saying that the president railed against his political opponents this morning and gave a campaign-like speech. Is that a fair characterization?
No, I don't think it is at all. First of all, I had reasonable expectations. I mean, an impeachment is it's a political execution, okay? I mean, this is like the caution tape is still around, the blood is still on the ground, and I don't think when Jesus said that we ought to forgive our enemies, I don't think he meant when the blood was still drying on the ground. I mean, this was a very traumatic experience that our country had, and so I don't blame the president for taking the moment to say what was on his mind. In terms of the tone of the speech, I mean, what you saw hundreds and hundreds of people that agreed with it, and even those who didn't agree with it. When it's all said and done, this is the beauty of America. You have these vibrant disagreements. You have Democrats and Republicans that they were in the same room, and our democracy is just fine. Our checks and balances worked, and it's going to be a great day tomorrow.
The keynote speaker, he focused on Jesus' admonition in Matthew 5 to love your enemies as a way to bring about national healing, Johnnie. Is it fair to say it seemed like the president offered a different message, calling some people sick, even evil?
I think that the president's strength is that he's honest. This is a president that says what's on his mind. He doesn't, I've said here before, I mean, one of the things that evangelicals have liked the most about President Trump is that President Trump, unlike so many politicians, he's never tried to be someone that he isn't. And I actually, if President Trump would have all of a sudden behaved differently, this morning, I mean, I think it would have been a different story. Instead, he spoke his point of view. He said what was on his mind, and he took the speech back to what he's done. And I think that a lot of people who feel politically threatened by this president, I mean, the truth is he's running for re-election in 2020 as someone who has kept his promises. In the previous election, he was running as someone who was making promises. And this was a speech about religious freedom, about the dignity of every single life, including the life of every child. And that's what people will remember.
Real quickly, Johnnie, the theme of this year's breakfast was on persecution. You travel the world. You wrote a book on the issue in The Martyr's Oath. Why is it so important to highlight the issue of persecution, especially in the Western world? Because
it's happening on a scale unprecedented around the world. And my only regret from the prayer breakfast is I wish that's an issue that we all can agree upon. And I wish everyone up there, including the keynote speaker, would have landed on that issue, because at this point in history, more people are being killed or abused or persecuted for their faith than any other thing. That's something Democrats and Republicans agree on. That's something Speaker Pelosi and the President of the United States agree on. It's something a lot of us work on every day of our lives.
Yeah, an important issue.
And the world is safer because of this administration's policies. It is unprecedented when it comes to religious freedom.
Johnnie, it's always good to have you. We have to leave it there. Thank you.